We did it again the next week. We did it twice.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Now, are there any misconceptions that you would like to get cleared up about anything or anything?
Well, I guess all the crap that, I'm sorry, that's a bad word, all the garbage you hear on the Enquirer and that kind of stuff, it's not even worth denying. You know, it's just, everybody's got something awful said about them 4 or 5 times, and you get so upset the first time, and then you figure out there's nothing you can do about it, unless you've got $10 million and want to sue. I think it's fascinating that people can sell stories, get paid for it, and they're not true. I mean, I just think that's fascinating. But everything now is so, and a group, gosh, I can't think of their name all of a sudden, had a song called Marianne, but they already had it, and it's kind of cute. It says something about Marianne. We're getting, I'm gray, will you forgive me, or something. You know, I've been your fan for so long now, I've turned gray. Country Gentleman is their name, and it's bluegrass, and if that's the one, they did that for my birthday party.
Okay.
I didn't know anybody else knew about it, but it's just great. It's really a cute song.
And your birthday was, what, a couple weeks ago?
October.
Okay. Well, not that far back.
Oh, and I had a party, and the party was so successful. My partner gave me a party in the Virginia mountains. It was beautiful, and it was so successful, we did it again the next week. We did it twice.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Now, are there any misconceptions that you would like to get cleared up about anything or anything?
Well, I guess all the crap that, I'm sorry, that's a bad word, all the garbage you hear on the Enquirer and that kind of stuff, it's not even worth denying. You know, it's just, everybody's got something awful said about them 4 or 5 times, and you get so upset the first time, and then you figure out there's nothing you can do about it, unless you've got $10 million and want to sue. I think it's fascinating that people can sell stories, get paid for it, and they're not true. I mean, I just think that's fascinating. But everything now is so, there is no privacy of any kind. You can say anything about anybody. Nobody can clarify it. It travels so fast. The communication today is a little bit frightening, I think, for young people. You know, you do something wrong, and when you're 17, and my God, you hear about it till you're dead. All teenagers make mistakes. I mean, it's really, the privacy issue is really huge. You know, and now I don't know who's tapping our wires or whether the drones are walking through my backyard. I don't know. I just find it, and things that come up, the last thing that happened was, between Connie Stevens and I both just laughed about it. We were doing a small film festival outside of Oakland. It's a little town where there was a Catholic university and lovely people, and we're having a private luncheon in a little, wasn't a country club, but a small little restaurant. I don't think there were 40 people, and we were only maybe 30 feet apart, and Connie and I were sitting next to each other, and Connie and I worked together a little bit, but not a lot. We're not really good buddies, and we were kind of catching up on stuff, because Hawaii and I was one of the first things I ever did. So we were chatting a little bit, and she had a house in Jackson Hole, and I had a house in Idaho, 18 miles apart over a mountain pass, and we were talking about, I said, the whole town went bankrupt. I had a film actors boot camp. We had $14 million worth of foreclosures with 1,100 people. And Connie said, I know we had to sell a house in Jackson. And we were talking about that quietly between the two of us. 2 days later, in the Enquirer, there's a separate article about each of us. That I have gone bankrupt, that I have moved out of my house in an apartment, nobody knows where I am, that I don't want to work, that I lie by the pool all day long and smoke dope. Connie has gone bankrupt and had to sell her house. None of this is true. And I thought it has to be somebody in that room who overheard one little thing about the bankruptcy in the town or something, because the two of us were together, and it's very ironic, written by the same writer. It's very ironic that it was in the same paper. And you just give up. You just can't, you call up and say, will you do a disclaimer? No, they won't.
Unbelievable.
So, I guess read that trash, and I guess they think, maybe it's just real gossip and makes them feel better. I don't know, but I'm sure you can't put much stock in it.
Now, that's why I don't think that they sell as many newspapers as they used to.
I don't know. I guess everybody does it by technical to each other, too. You take a picture of somebody at a party, and nobody knows they've taken a picture of you, and it goes everywhere. You might have been kissing the wrong man, or who knows? Who knows? It used to be the Screen magazines when I was first here. There was Hedda Hopper, and what was the other woman's name? That were really the columnists. And, you get set up on a date. I remember Peter Brown and I got set up on a date to have dinner somewhere, so our pictures were put in photo play like we were dating. Because we walked out of the restaurant together. We weren't dating, but that was all that gossip, but it was controlled. I think the press people set it up, and it was controlled to keep your image whatever they wanted to be. Now who knows what's going on? I'd be scared to death if I were raising a 12 or 13-year-old daughter right now. That's what my book is about a little bit. You know, the world is a whole different place, and you have to adjust. You can't just sit and complain about it. But you better be careful what you're doing in front of the camera, because it's going to follow you.
Which leads to another question. Rumors have been going around for many years that you once posed for Playboy. Is that true?
If I posed, we'd be able to find it somewhere, wouldn't we? No, I was asked not too long ago. I mean, it wasn't when I was doing the show. I was asked to would I pose? I said no. Would I pose topless? I said no. And the money got bigger. According to my agent. I don't know, and I just said no. I'm not interested in that.
Your morals are still going with you. Glad to hear that.
Well, yeah, I think we all have our own set of standards, and I'm not a goody two-shoes in preaching, but I think we are more good than we are bad, and we are more alike than we are different. And I do think today there are an awful lot of temptations, and there's an awful lot of uncertainty everywhere. And I just think you have to be, I talk to young women a lot, you just have to be strong within yourself. Not everything goes, and think about the consequences. And it's a good life, and we are lucky to be in this country. There's a lot of bad everywhere, but you can find the good. You can find the good in anything if you look hard enough, almost, If you look for the good, you'll find it. I tend to think more positive than negative. I don't fear when I get on a flight. I say a little prayer, say I hope I'm going to be okay, but I'm not in constant, feeling I'm in constant jeopardy and stuff. I think we sort of make our own way, except for health. We can't control that. But I do think you have choices.
We are
you
talking
do way down deep in your soul know what's right and wrong. We all do, unless you're too drunk or stoned or something to consider it. But we all do know it's bad to do things. So.
We're talking with Miss Dawn Wells, Marianne Summers from Gilligan's Island. Now, Dawn, do you think that Marianne hurt you as far as being typecast, that it didn't help you after the series was done?
Yes, I do think it hurt me in a certain way. It's given me a notoriety, recognizable everywhere I go around the world, and loved. I am loved. People come and hug me. They love the character of Marianne. That is wonderful. That's very gratifying. My goal was to do a Broadway show, and I'm telling you, they laughed when I came back with my agent, wanted to audition for something after. Gilligan's Island, are you kidding? I mean, New Yorkers are kind of snobs anyway. They think that they're a step above we idiots in Los Angeles, and they probably are. They're probably more intellectual than we are here. But it doesn't mean you're an actress. I played a character that was simple. I didn't play SUV or one of those shows. I didn't. I had a great comedy role, but it took a while. My training is theater, and that's what I love the most. So I've done 4 or 5 plays this year. Was on the road with Love, Lost, and What I Wore. I did Lion in Winter. I'm going into Steel Magnolias in March. I love the theater. I love it a lot, and I hope to continue. I'd love to do Broadway, a really good dramatic role on Broadway, and I'd love to do a really dramatic role on television. I've not done that.
This is your second time on WMBS. You were on last week with Jack Evans, and we appreciate you coming back on the same station twice. Does that happen very often?
No, and I just realized that was. You have the same listeners? Are they bored already, or is this a new group?
Well, I would think it's a new group because I'm basically an oldies music show, where Jack is more of a talk show.
But yeah, you do have different. Yeah, sure.
We have fun. I get to play the good music, which leads up to another question. Somebody called me and asked me to ask you, what type of music do you like to listen to?
It really depends on my mood. I love to hear lyrics, so I like to hear something that's I have an old Dean Martin DVD that I play all the time, where he's with Phil Silvers and singing with Jack Harris, and I mean it's just wonderful. I love his voice. I love romantic music. I love good dance music. I love rhythm. I don't mean hip-hop. I mean just good rhythm. I love to dance. So rock and roll, you know. I'm not much in the hip-hop stuff, but I'm not much in musicals. I'm not much in musicals. I'm not real musical. I'm rhythm more than I am music. Because I can't tell if you're on key or off key. You know, I think you're doing a real good job. Somebody else might say, "Whoa, that was a flat" or something. I don't really know that. So it's more the rhythm and the lyrics, and then I love romance. You know, I love beautiful music when you're having dinner and a slow dance and all of that. That's my generation.
And the period after Gilligan's Island ended to, say, maybe 10 years ago, what did you do in those 20, 30 years, basically?
I went back to theater constantly. I did a lot of dinner theater. I went and did a lot of dinner theater so I could really expand my talent or my horizon, so to speak. I did that a lot. And I would do a play. I would put a play together in a week. And I did 2 national tours. I did the Chapter 2 national tour. I did They're Playing Our Song national tour. I did some television, but not much. I went back to stage because I wanted to break the mold of the little farm girl. I thought I'd be playing that character for the next 5 or 6 years. So I went out and did vagina monologues. I got done a lot.
Now, I know Bob Denver had gotten into radio. Did you do any radio with him?
No, I didn't, but I just talked to Dreama, his wife, yesterday, and she's still doing Little Buddy Radio out of West Virginia. And her station has really grown. They did it together, and she's continued it.
Okay, going back to Gilligan's Island, you had mentioned earlier about a lot of the guests who had been on there. There were a few different musical guests on there too, weren't there, other than the Wellingtons who did the theme song?
Yeah, I think. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I know the Wellingtons did the theme song, and I don't know who played.
I'm thinking that they played the Mosquitoes when they were on there the one time.
Yeah, and Les Brown Jr. I ran into on a plane not very long ago, and he was one of the group. But I don't know what the group was really called, to tell you the truth.
Well, according to the credits of the first season, the Wellingtons did the theme song, and I thought that they actually were on the show playing the Mosquitoes when they got trapped on the island.
Maybe it was. Yeah, maybe that's the same people.
But it seemed like everybody could get off the island except the castaways.
And then we'd have been right off the air.
You got a point there. You
Pretty hard to keep us on, though. I know when CBS bought it, they went, how's everybody going to know you've been marooned every week? And that's when the song came to be. And Sherwood wrote it, came into to the CBS executives and had to sing it.
Now, when you first applied for it, there were a couple other relatively big names who also applied for the show. Raquel Welch, I believe, applied. Pat Priest, who later became part of the Munsters, applied for it, but you got the part.
Well, I think every ingenue in town, when a series comes up, every agent puts every ingenue in town out there, you know. So I think that's part of it. I think that's the reason. And, of course, we were 3 replacements. The pilot was made with 3 school teachers, and CBS said, no, I think you better rewrite and make it something a little more interesting. So they rewrote it, and they made a movie star, Professor Mary Ann, and Ginger was cast first in New York City, so that's the reason Russell and I were the rest, because her agent said nobody could be, she would be right after the Howells with her billing and nobody after her.
What was it like to work with Jim Backus?
He was wonderful. He was just wonderful. He really would share his comedy, which is interesting because most comedians keep it very private. But he would share his comedy. He was very good about that.
And I imagine Alan Hell was awfully easy to work with also.
He was such a dear man with the most wonderful disposition, happy all the time. Cute story is he fell and broke his wrist out of a tree when he was shooting something and missed the mattress and finished the whole day and came in the next day with his arm in a cast. He didn't even tell anybody. He was a great guy. As a matter of fact, I've just gotten acquainted with his granddaughter, who is named Samantha Hale, and she's doing stand-up. And I just have reacquainted myself with Bob Denver's son, Patrick, who's a special effects guy. He's also